Today in this class we are going to have a topic which is relating to the Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation only, that is relating to the probable error. So what do you mean by this probable error? For 2 marks also they are going to ask the question for you, and also along with the correlation coefficient the question is going to be given for you. Calculate Carl Pearson coefficient and also the probable error. So this is the question that you people have to you are going to ask in the examination. When we are going to see under a study, that is when we are going to have a under a study, when we are going to collect the information, or when we have calculated according to the relationship between the two variables, again under random sampling. Random sampling is what? Random sampling is nothing but just like that we are going to pick the variables among the entire population for our study. So definitely we are going to have an error which is going to be seen. To remove the error, to overcome the error, again we are going to have we are using the formula with the help of that probable error. This probable error, here it is nothing but it is also one of the statistical tool where we are going to be used to measure the reliability of the value of Pearson's correlation coefficient. How reliable it is. So on the basis of that, whether it is exact, whether it is accurate, whether it is reliable, whether it can be, whether it is correct or not, that thing we can able to measure still more accurate, that is with the help of this probable error. So in case of this probable error, this formula we are going to be used, that is probable error PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus r square divided by square root of n. So this is the formula. Why we are going to consider these decimal fractions only means this 0.6745, because in normal distribution, that is 50% of the observation is lying in the range of this 0 plus or minus 0.6745 mean and also the standard deviation. So we are using this 0.6745 as the value for the calculation of probable error. So here 0.6745 into 1 minus r means it is correlation coefficient, that already we have calculated the value, and divided by square root of n. So this is the formula that we have to use. And you people should remember always when you are going to calculate this probable error, if the value of r means what? Correlation coefficient. If it is more than 6 times the probable error, 6 times means 6 into PE, 6 times is nothing but 6 PE. If it is more than means correlation value itself is more than, you have to calculate PE, then you should multiply with the 6, then whatever the value you are going to get. Even then, if the R value is more, right, then it is called as significant. Then we are going to write the interpretation whether R is significant or R is insignificant. So at that time, you have to write that first you should calculate probable error, then multiply with the 6, then you should compare with the correlation coefficient value. If correlation value is more, then it is called significant. With what means? With 6 PE. If it is more than, correlation value is more than 6 PE, then it is called as, the value of probable error is called as more significant. And if the value of R is less than 6 times of probable error, if the value, however we are going to calculate, that is 6, we have to multiply this probable value with the 6 number. After that, if the value of R is less than, when we are going to compare with 6 PE, then we have to have a conclusion that the value of R is not significant. It is not at all significant. Means it is significant, means it is accurate. Means it is not accurate like that. It is like that. If it is not accurate, so we should write an interpretation when we are going to compare with the correlation and the probable error. So that is how we should interpret the value of correlation when we are going to compare with the probable error. Let us will see some of the questions to calculate they are going to give. So here, so if R equals 0.6 and N equals 64, find out the probable error of the coefficient of correlation and determine the limits for population. First, we need to go for calculating the probable error. And also we have to calculate what are the two limits. One will be plus PE, another one will be minus PE. Then later on we'll see. First we should substitute the values in the formula. We know that probable error is nothing but 0.6745 into 1 minus r square divided by square root of n. So r is nothing but correlation value, n is nothing but number of items what they have given in the question. So probable error equals 0.6745 into 1 minus, see the question, in the question they have given correlation value is plus 0.6. So substitute in the place of r, that is 0.6, r square it is, so it is 0.6 square divided by, so n value they have given, that is 64, substitute here root 64. Then PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.6 into 0.6, the value will be 0.36 divided by, remove the square root of 64, we are getting the value, it is 8. And you should always be clear that you should not have the division for the entire, that is for 0.6745. It is totally, it is different from these fraction value, that is 1 minus r square by root of n. Bari ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ complete division ಹಾಕೋಬಿಡಬೇಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ. So ಬರೀ 1 minus r square by root n ಮಾತ್ರ ನೀವು division ಅನ್ನ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.36 is nothing but 0.64 divided by 8. After dividing, we are going to get the value, that is 0.6745 into 0.64 divided by 8. We will get the value, that is 0.08. Till that it is the value of probable error. Sorry. Then again we should multiply with 0.08 into 0.6745. The value of probable error is 0.05396. So this is the value of probable error. Now we should see that this probable error is going to, what is the lower limit and what is the upper limit for this probable error, the error which is going to be false. Now we can calculate the limits also, that is one is r plus PE, another one is r minus PE. R means correlation, 0.67 plus PE value is 0.0. Whatever we have calculated, we got the answer, that should be written here. It has to be added with correlation value. That is 0.65396, we'll get the value, that is 0.65396. One more negative value of PE also has to be calculated, that is 0.6 minus 0.05396. We are getting the one more limit, that is the 0. This is the lower limit and this is the upper limit, 0.54604. Therefore, we should write the two limits. What we have got, the probable error, the lower limit will be 0.54604 and the upper limit is 0.65396. Between these, the probable error limits has to be calculated here. So determine the limits for population means you need to go for 1 plus PE, another one is minus PE. This will be given for section B ali kelbodu question anna. So that is for 8 marks. And next the question here, find the probable error when the correlation coefficient is 0.75 and the number of pairs of items is 36. Interpret R. So we need to calculate the value of P. After calculating the value of P only, we can able to have an interpretation. Interpretation means it is nothing but whether R value is significant or R value is insignificant has to be written. Let us build the values are going to be substituted in this probable error, that is 0.6745 into 1 minus r square divided by root n. PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus, see the value of r, that is 0.75 square divided by number of items they have given, that is 36 root 36. Then PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus, multiply 0.752 times, we are getting the value, that is 0.5625 divided by 6. And then again we should calculate the values in the next step. Then PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.5625, the value is 0.4375 divided by 6. After division, we are getting the values here. PE equals 0.6745 into 0.07292. Multiply these two values, will get the probable error value is 0.04918. So this is the value of probable error. Now we need to go For interpreting the value of R, whether the probable error is significant or not has to be checked. First, what we should do, first we should multiply with 6p, right? Whether it is significant or not significant, we can able to check very easily that R, we have to interpret it with R, that is 6p equals, 6p is nothing but probable error, 6 into the probable value, 0.04918. The 6pe value is now 0.2951. Now you should compare with this pe value, probable, with the correlation value, that is 6pe value is 0.2951 and the correlation value is 0.75, and this 0.75 is greater than 6pe value here, that is 0.2951. So we should write a conclusion for that, that 6 correlation value is greater than the 6pe, so it is called as more significant, or we can write it as the probable value is more significant. The correlation value is greater than 6p, therefore R is significant, has to be written. This is how we should write the conclusion for both the probable error calculation as well as for the interpretation while after comparing with the correlation value. Let us will go for the next question, that is problem 3. Sometimes they are going to ask for 2 marks also, for 6 marks also. When we'll ask for the 14 marks, along with the correlation, we should go for calculating the probable error. And see the third question here, R value equals 0.9 and N equals 100, find probable error. This much will be given for 2 marks. PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus R squared by root n. This is the formula. Substitute the values in the formula. That is 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.9 is the correlation value. Substitute, then square it, then divided by root n. And PE equals 0.6945 into 1 minus 0.9 into 0.9. The value is how much? 0.81 divided by, remove the square root of 100, we are going to get the 10. Then we should deduct this 1 minus 0.81. Then we will get the value, that is 0.19. Then in the next step, P equals 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.81 is 0.19 divided by 10. The value will be 0.019 into 0.74, sorry, 0.6745 to be multiplied. Therefore, the value of probable error is 0.012. So this is how we are going to have to calculate the value of probable error. And one more question, which may ask in the section B. Here, given probable error equals 0.039, R value equals 0.65, but here they have given to calculate the value of N. It is not the value to calculate the probable error. By using this formula, we require to calculate the value of N. Now we have to substitute the values whatever given in the question. Probable error value in the left hand side, that is 0.039 equals 0.6745 into 1 minus R value is also given 0.65, square it, divided by root n, that is n value is not there, root n as it is as root n. Then next step, 0.039 equals 0.6745 into 1 minus, when you multiply 0.652 times, you will get the value, that is 0.4225 divided by, again retain root n as it is. Then we'll go for the next step, 0.039 equals 0.6745 into, after deducting 1 minus 0.4225, we are getting the value, that is 0.5775 divided by root n. And the next is 0.039 equals, here what we have done, we have to shift this root n. So we multiplied both the values, that is 0.6745 into 0.5775, because if there is no denominator value, after multiplying we will get to 0.3895 divided by root n. Now with the help of cross multiplication, we are shifting this root n to the left side. Then along with 0.039, we should multiply root n, and this side, left hand side, there is no number, so it is assumed that it is equal to 1. Now we'll multiplying this 0.039 into square root n equals, then the right hand side only the number of decimal is remaining, that is 0.3895. Again we have to calculate the value of n, retain root n in the left side as it is, equals, then we have to shift this because it is in the position of multiplication, it is going to the right hand side division place. So 0.3895 whatever is there in the right hand side, right as it is, then you shift this 0.039 to the right side division place. Then again root n equals, divide this 0.3895 with 0.039. The value is nothing but 9.9871. If you are going to round it off, you are getting, because number of items can we say that is 9.9. 9.9 is, we can't have the exact value, so we have to write the round. We have to round off the number, that is called as 10. Now square root n is 10. Then if you want to calculate the value of n, what we should do means, here we should square both the sides to remove the square root which is there in the left hand side. Now root n whole square equals, because both the sides we have to do the squares, so on the right hand side also 10 will become 10 square. Now this is square and this square is going to cancel. One more square root symbol is there and square is also there. Both squares will cancel at the left hand side, but at the right hand side here 10 square will become 100. Therefore the value of n is nothing but 100 now. So the root n value is 10, but f value is 100. So this is how we need to calculate the value of n. So this kind of questions will be there in the section B. Have you followed how to calculate this probable error? Any one unknown number or missing values will be given to calculate with the help of that, or they are going to ask you for interpret the value of r, then you are going to compare with the probable error. Have you followed this much? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆಯಮ್ಮ ಇದು?
Yes, ma'am.
Next we'll go for the 14 marks question here. See the question given that the following data relates to the percentage of failures in the 10th standard examination. Find whether there is any correction uh, between age and failure in the examination and interpret the results by finding the probable error. Now we have to calculate correlation coefficient between age and failures. So let us will assume the age be as x variable and failures be as y variable, and we should see in the table whether the exact values are given. So no need to go for further calculation because already it is given age of candidates and percentage of failures. And also we need to calculate the probable error, and we have to interpret the value of r after comparing the probable error. This much has to be done. So the variable of x what they have given, that has to be seen here. Age of candidates 13 years, 14 years, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, up to 21 years the values are given, and also the percentage of failures. Those are going to fall in 13 years, 39 is the percentage of the failures, and 14 years 40, and 15 years 43 percentage, 16 years 34 percentage, 17 years 36, 18 years 39, 19 years 48 percentage are failed, 20 years 47 percentage are failed, and 21 years 52 percent are failed. So as we know that correlation means we need to have a table of 7 columns. Please be remember correlation itself means we have either it is an actual mean or assumed mean. So now in this question they have not asked to calculate whether to follow actual or assumed mean. Assumed mean whichever you people are feeling easy or more comfortable with that method you can apply. So here we calculated here according to the actual mean. So actual mean method here. So actual mean mean the formula is nothing but sigma xy divided by root of sigma x square into y square. That is the formula for the calculation of actual mean here. So first only we have calculated sigma xy is nothing but deviation of x into deviation of y divided by root of sigma x square into y square. So for this formula, what all the values are needed to substitute has to be calculated along with the table. Now x values has to be written, and also y values, whatever is given in the question. The x values are 13 up to 21. Y values we should write as it is given in the question. That is 39, 40, 43, 34, 36, 39, 48, 47, and 42. As we are doing with actual mean method, we need sigma x and sigma y total value. So sigma x is total of x variables are 153 and total of y variables are 378. So with the help of these values, we have to calculate the actual mean. We know that the mean is nothing but sigma x divided by n, and y mean also sigma x divided by n. So total sigma x is 153 divided by 9. The value of actual mean of x is 17. In the same manner, y value, that is y mean, has to be calculated. So sigma y is 378 divided by number of items are 40. The right, the value of y mean is 42. Now with the help of those two numbers, we need to go for deviation. Deviation means actual variables should be deducted with the what? With the actual value. Now 13 minus 17 is minus 4, 14 minus 17 is minus 3, then 15 minus 17 is minus 2, 16 minus 17 is minus 1, then 17 minus 17 again we got 0, 18 minus 17 is 1, 19 minus 17 is 2, 20 minus 17 is 3, 21 minus 17 is 4. Total all the values, because these values in case of actual mean, we no need to substitute the value of sigma x and sigma y. Means this is deviation x. Be careful. In case of assume means specifically we are going to mention dx and dy, but we are not mentioning in the case of actual mean, but the values are what? Deviation values only we are substituting in the formula, whether it is actual or assumed mean. Similarly, in the same case, for the calculation of deviation of y also, we need to do the same. 30, because the value of y mean is 42, 39 minus 42 is minus 3, 40 minus 42 is minus 2, 43 minus 42 is plus 1, 34 minus 42 is minus 8, then we'll get minus 6, minus 3, 6, 5, 10. The values after deducting by the y variable, therefore the total value of sigma y is 0. Now we will try to calculate the square it, both the x values as well as the y value. Then you see these deviation values, whatever you have calculated, square it. 4 square is 16, 3 square is 9, 2 square is 4, because minus into minus become plus only after multiplying 2 times. So minus 1 into minus 1 is 1. 0, 1 in 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 10. Total all the values, we are getting sigma x square is nothing but 60, that is deviation of x square is 60. In the same manner, we should go for calculating y square. So see here, the deviation y values are minus 3 square is 9, minus 2 square is 4, 1 square is 1, 8 square is 64, 6 square is 36. See this column, 3 square is 9, 6 square is 36, 5 square is 25, 10 square is 100. Total all the values of deviation of y value, y square values is 284. So last one more column has to be calculated to substitute in the formula, that is dx into dy, or the deviation of x values with the deviation of y values. The product value has to be done here. So minus into minus is plus, 4 into 3 is 12. Minus into minus is plus, 3 into 2 is 6. So minus into plus is minus, 2 ones are 2. Minus into minus is 1 8 are 8. Then 0 into 6 is 0. 1 plus into minus is minus. 1 into 3 is 3. 2 both are plus here, so it will become plus. So 2 into
into minus
5 into 6
minus.
is 15, and 4 into 10 is 40. Total values of all sigma dx dy, the product of deviation with x and y values are 88. Now we should go for substituting the value of the formula. Here we use actual mean. So the actual mean formula is r equals sigma xy divided by root of sigma x square into y square. So now we'll have to check what is the xy value here in the question. The table we calculated 88. X square is 60, y square is 84. That is required for the formula. Substitute the values in the formula. So 88 divided by, here after removing the square root we got, first we multiply these two, 16 to 284, then remove the square root. The value is 130.537. Then the value of correlation is 0.741. Now we have to write the interpretation for the correlation, not for probable error here. So here, what kind of correlation is existed between the age and percentage means it is a moderate degree positive correlation. So when we'll see this value, it is a positive correlation. What degree of correlation means it is moderate degree correlation. What we are going to exist between age and
இட்மா மாத்த இங்க இட்மா இங்க
hello. Someone has not muted your audio, ma. Who is that?
Vinisha ma'am.
Inisha, can you mute your audio, ma? So that is only up to correlation. But the question is still more has given in the question. See there, we have studied one sentence that yeah, now find whether there is any correlation between age and failure in the examination and interpret the result by finding the probable error. So this thing has to be calculated now because correlation got over. Now we should apply the formula of probable error, that is PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus r square divided by square root of n. And PE equals, substitute the values, 0.6745 into 1 minus. Now we should see the value of r, what we got here. It is 0.6741. So 0.6741 to be substituted in the place of r, then t square. The number of items are 9, so square root of 9. PE equals 0.6745 into 1 minus, square these two values, 0.6741 into 0.6741, we are getting 0.4545 divided by, remove the square root, this 9 square root is nothing but 3. Then we should deduct this 1 minus 0.4545, we will get 0.5455 divided by 3. Then after this, in the next step, we should divide first 0.5455 divided by 3. You will get the value, that is 0.1818. Then you should multiply with 0.6745. We are getting the value of probable error is 0.12265. Now we have to write the interpretation whether is R is significant or not. If R is significant means first we need to calculate 6 PE value. So 6 PE means 6 into probable error, that is 0.12265. The 6 PE value is 0.7359. Now this value has to be compared with the correlation. Correlation means 0.6745. Which one is greater here? Whether it is greater than correlation, this value, that is 0.73 and 0.67. We can able to see, we have to compare. Which is greater here? Correlation value or probable 6P value? Which one is greater?
6p value.
6P value. So if 6P value is greater than R, means it is very easily we say that R is less than 6PE, right? So if R is less than 6P means we say that correlation, whatever the correlation we got, it is insignificant, right? So that is how we should interpret the results by comparing with the probable error. And one more question is there. If the session is getting out, you just the calculations, till the calculation I can make you people to understand. I think so. Now see, this is the question. The following tables give the distribution of density of population, and similar kind of question I think in the last class we have done, or I might have been circulated. And also along with that we have to calculate the relationship between density and population and death rates. So these are all the values which has been given in the question. And density of population and death rates, both values need to be calculated here. So districts are, they have given kilometers, then population and number of deaths. Now first we have to calculate the density of population. For the calculation of density of population, the formula is population divided by area in kilometers. So here population values are there, kilometers are there. All the population values has to be divided with the kilometers according to the districts. Here 24,000 divided by 120, that is 200. Then 75,000 by 150 is 500. See, they have given it is 48,000 divided by 80. We got the value, that is 600. 40,000 by 50 equals 800, and 50,000 by 200 is 250. Because both x values, x variable as well as y variable is not clearly given in the question. So we have to calculate both variables. So for the calculation of density population, if you are assuming it as x means the formula has to be used, that is population divided by area in kilometers. These are all the x variables. Similarly, y variables also need to be calculated. Death rate. So death rate, it is based on the population we can able to calculate. We are not going to calculate with the help of percentage here. Now see here, all these cases we are seeing 1000, which is given in the form of 1000. So based on 1000 we can able to calculate very easily the death rates. So in a district, the formula is number of deaths divided by population into, either if you are going to calculate percentage means 100, if you are calculating the thing by having a base of 1000 people means this can be mentioned, that is into 1000. If the question is given in the form of lakhs means you can write is into 1 lakhs. Be clear with that. The On the basis of 1000 we have calculated the value of death rates. In the same manner, number of deaths they have given in the question, that is 288 divided by 24,000 into 1000. The value of death rate is 12, and in B district 1125 by 75,000 into 1000 is 15, 768 by 48,000 into 1000 is 16, and 720 by 40,000 into 1000 is 18, and 50 by 50,000 into 1000 is 30. So these are all the y variables. Let us will see in the table. So we said that we need to calculate according the table. So whichever method you feel easy, you can go for that. There is no specifically mentioned. If you are finding very easy with the actual mean means, go by actual mean method only. No, if you want to calculate by assumed mean means, either by deviation, step deviation, or shortcut method, whichever you feel easy, you can go for calculating. Now see here in this table, they have written x values as well as y values, and deviation they have taken here. Assume mean method they have followed. So in the assume mean method only for the value of x variable they have. If you are going to write x minus a divided by what? Divided by the common factor, that is c, means here all the numbers are divided by c. So to make it more simple, we have taken we have divided with this 100, or else you can write as it is x minus 500. You can write minus 300, 0, 100, 300, 250, like that only you can able to write. No need to go for dividing with the 100. Also, to be more simple, the numbers to be seen in the table we have divided. In case of y values also deviation, so here we have taken 16 as the assumed value. So 12 minus 16 is minus 4, 15 minus 16, then 16 minus 16, 18 minus 16, 13 minus 16. So if this plus is plus, write down minus is minus, then square it of x square as well as y square. Calculate the value of x and y also. So we are getting the values in the last column. The total values of dx is 1.5 according to the thing what we have calculated here. Dy is 6, dx square is 25.25, y square is 30, and dx into dy is 25.25. All the values we have substituted here, and we got a correlation of high degree positive correlation. Only correlation value they have given. If you want to calculate, if the question is being raised still more to calculate and compare with the probable error means, then we should go for calculating probable error as well as whether it is more significant or less significant. That conclusion you people have to write by comparing with the value of R. So this is how to calculate both correlation as well as the probable error. Have you people followed this one? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma. Shall we end? I think the session is getting out now. Shall we stop here? Have you people followed this one? If any doubts are there, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, but thank you once again. So in the next session,
Thank you,
we'll
ma'am.
see the next class. So again, 8 marks question, how they are going to ask specifically, uh, directly how they are going to ask in the next class we'll do it. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Now
Thank
I
you,
am
ma'am.
going to end this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.